Good morning. This tutorial with the geese on water will help you understand how to achieve hard and soft edges in your watercolor paintings. Here's the reference photo of the geese from Pixabay and my photo of the river. I wanted to include some of these lily pads, but you can put them in or leave them out. It's up to you. The reference photos and outline for this tutorial are free to download at watsonwatercolor.com, and the direct link is listed under the video. I started out by masking out a few of the grasses, the lily pads, and the top edges of the geese. My mask's going to save the white of the paper on those items while I paint the background. Start with a big wash of blue for your sky and water. Today I have phthalo blue and cobalt teal. These are both greenish blues and they should be very pretty. You want soft edges for the water and sky, so work wet on wet. Wet the paper so it's a bit damp. The trees and grasses are going to be darker than the sky or the water, so if some of the blue goes on them, it's okay. You want the sky darker at the top and lighter near the horizon line. In the water, the blue is going to be light at the top and get more concentrated and darker as it goes down. I'm stopping by the geese. This is enough to work on at one time. The sky is all one value at this point, so switch to a smaller brush and tweak the values. Add more paint to the top of the sky if you need it. And the tree reflection is getting a hard edge. I think this area was too dry, so I just use a damp brush to re-wet. Playing with the water is fun. Be sure you go back and forth in horizontal strokes. When you're happy with the water, before it dries, get out your greens, or mix your own with blue plus yellow or gold. I'm starting with the tree mass on the right, adding light green to the edges and darker green to the middle. And the same is true for the reflection. Paint it all at one time. Just keep painting the green lighter on the edges and darker at the top middle. It's a good idea to get your first light washes of color on everything before you worry about any details. The grasses on the left are lighter green at the edges and darker green in the middle area. I'm sticking with just greens in this tutorial so you can see the value differences easily, but you could add browns or other more realistic colors to your trees and grasses if you'd like. The area below the geese also needs a first wash. Now that we've got the first washes done on the top, wet the area below the geese and use slightly thicker paint so you get a nice concentrated blue. Paint around the geese reflections. You want a soft edge. The color may run back in, but you can lift it with a thirsty brush or dab it with a paper towel. You can just swish in some darker paint for that area and bring it up to the top of the geese if you need a smooth transition. The tree is starting to dry. One way to add texture is by spattering with clean water. You can tap your brush on your finger to spatter water. And the sky got spattered too, which I didn't want. I dot on some of the water instead, creating tiny blooms. And I try to smooth out the spatters that flew into the reflection. That wasn't the best idea. The bottom is starting to dry and the color is seeping into my reflection areas for the geese. So I lift up some of the color and wipe it on a paper towel. I'm happy with the way the color settled on the bottom. When the paper dries, it's time for the next layer of color. In the distant grasses, you want a variety of colors and values. Just draw on some medium value grasses. I did include a rock. I'm painting around the rock and adding more color to the reflections. You don't have to add the rock. I only put it there because it was in the photo, and I don't think it adds much to the picture. I'm not happy with the tree on the left or the spatters. So I paint over the whole thing with a light and darker green once again. And I add more of the colors to the reflections. Reflections can be even darker than the object that they're reflecting. Now I'm building up the darkest color on the grasses. When you add these, don't go over the grasses you've already done. Draw some new blades and be sure to add that color to the reflection. The tree mass is looking better, and I think I'm going to stop here and dry this. Have you wondered how I'm going to fix the spatters in the sky? I'm going to disguise them. I mix a dark color with my red, yellow, and blue, and just use the edge of my brush to add a few wispy bare trees, doing a lot of dabbing with my paper towel so the trees stay light and distant looking. If your grasses need more color, you can add some now. If they look okay, leave them as they are. At this point, we can take off the masking, and the composition is beginning to take shape. The light grasses that were masked out get a light coat of green. The lily pads also get a light coat of green. You don't want the lily pads to stand out too much, so do your first wash with colors the same value as the water behind them. Last, you could darken the bottom of the lily pads just a bit. Now the masking lifted off the pencil lines that I had in the geese's face, so I'm drawing them back in. Be sure to pay close attention to the details in the eyes and the beaks, as the geese are the center of interest in this composition. There's a good bit of shading on the front of the geese, some light, some medium, some dark. Since they're the center of interest, you want beautiful shadows in the neck and front of these geese. One way to get glowing color is to paint a color and its complement wet on wet and let them blend on the paper. Paint on one color and then the other. It's okay if it doesn't mix totally. Use a neutral dark for the area at the very bottom of the geese. When you're painting these geese, keep your reference photo close by so you can see the details clearly. This first goose has a little brown on the wings. Shadows can be tough because the paint tends to dry lighter than it looks while wet, but don't worry. You can lift color with a paper towel or a thirsty brush, and you can add as many layers of color as you need. Again, this goose is darker at the bottom, and a little darker under the uplifted beak. He has feathery details at the back and gray color on the wing. If the white of the paper seems too stark, you can wet the area and add a few small touches of color, but don't kill all your whites. They're what make the goose so pretty. Just keep playing with your shading until you're happy with the results. And don't forget that little bit of tail from the first goose that's sticking past the neck. When the first shadow washes are done, you can evaluate and tweak. But don't let the shadows overwhelm you. Save your concentration skills for the eyes and the beaks. Both beaks have an area of darker color around the light beak. The goose on the right has black around a light gray beak. The goose on the left has dark brown around a light orange beak. For my finishing touches, I'm darkening up some of the lily pads and getting out my opaque white. You can use opaque white paint or a white ink pen to add ripples in the water, white highlights on the lily pads, or to clean up the edges of the geese. I'm adding a distant white tree in the back for more variety. We're really done, but all this green is not making me happy. I add some orange to the distant trees and grasses for a little more reality. There are so many things you could do with this composition. You could lift out a sun in the left upper corner. You could add lily pads to the front. I just like the attitude of these geese, and this quick tutorial makes a pleasant picture. Please subscribe for more watercolor adventures. I won't be posting new lessons until the fall, but there's plenty on my website. So have a great summer and keep painting.